Hi, I'm Nina Milligan with Highlands Council here at Blakely Hall with one of our talk shows, and I've invited today District 5 representatives to come tell us a little bit about what happened in Olympia this year. Right next to me I have Representative Lisa Callan, I have Senator Mark Mullet, and I have Representative Bill Ramos. Thank you all for coming. This is going to be fun, and it's going to be a little rapid fire, so I apologize in advance. We're not going to go deep into any of these topics. I just want to get a smattering of what you learned this year. I'm really allowing you to keep your comments to about 20 seconds. Good luck with that.
Is there a buzzer? Is there a zapper?
Yeah, I know, that would be nice. No, we don't have that. You're on your own. Let's start with one of the more contentious or difficult topics is about health insurance. This is big on the national stage, but what did we do here at the state level? Lisa, why don't I start with you?
Great, thanks. From my perspective, we did some really great things. One, we did some protections to make sure that pre-existing conditions are not limiting your insurance coverage ability, and also preventing any kind of annual or lifetime limits on insurance coverage.
Super. Anybody else? Bill, did you work on that too?
Yes, I did, and I also like to mention one of the most important things is what I call getting rid of surprise billing, which is when someone goes to the doctor, they think they're covered by network, but somebody there isn't, and then they get a bill that's out of the network service. That is now up to the insurance companies to settle out and let the consumer not have to worry about figuring out how that surprise billing is going to get paid.
Nice. That's great. So the next topic, and this is really hot today, because we have a measles case at Issaquah High School, and you guys were working on the vaccine law and the regulations. Mark, what happened with that this year?
Yeah, I have 2 high school students at home right now because high school is canceled today. So we passed an MMR vaccine requirement saying just for that one, for the measles vaccine, before you start school in kindergarten, public school, you would have to have proof of that vaccine. And we got rid of what they call the personal / philosophical exemption. So you still have a medical exemption, you still have a religious exemption. You can't just say for philosophical reasons I'm choosing not to vaccinate. And that's the big change in the law, and that goes into effect this summer, so it'll be in place when school starts in September.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Another law that changed was the legal age for tobacco. Lisa, tell us a little bit about that.
I actually, with my work and background from the school board, very excited about this. This takes the legal age for tobacco and vaping products from the age of 18 to the age of 21. Statistics have shown that when we have increased the age, youth smoking has gone down, and this is going to protect our youth. I feel the numbers are going to show themselves. I'm very excited about that opportunity. If we can keep those kids from starting smoking earlier, they have a much better chance and a healthier lifestyle for living out their life for years to come.
Yeah. Do you know when that goes into effect?
Ooh.
20.
Okay. Does anybody else?
I think it's this summer.
I think it's
okay.
Yeah, I think it's
soon.
Yeah, end of July, I think it'll be in place.
Okay. The primaries are this year for not this year, I'm sorry, it's not this year, it's next year for the presidential election, and we changed the date that we have the primaries. Why did we do that? Bill, why did we change the date, and what are the impacts?
Well, we moved it up to March, and the main reason for that is that we want to have our citizens in Washington have a bigger say on the national level. By having that earlier, we'll be able to have more impact on separating out all the different candidates, and our votes will matter more on the national stage. So it's pretty important.
And I heard somewhere that this also has kind of an interplay with our state's governor's race, since our governor is running for president. Did you hear about that? That then if Jay Inslee is not chosen in the primary, then he can run for governor next year?
You have to talk to him about how the details of that work. I think he has to make some calls there sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Well, I think one big change is the caucus system is going away on the Democratic side. So now that vote you make in the primary ballot will be the vote that determines. So that whole system of showing up, Democrats used to do this every presidential cycle where they'll get in a gymnasium and argue with each other about who they like most for president. And that is now going to be much simpler for people to just vote on the ballot.
Great. Hey, Mark, let's stay with you, because I think I've heard you talk a bit about the daylight savings topic. What's up on that?
So we had a bill this session that I was ecstatic, got to the finish line, and it basically says we're going to stay. We made a choice to stay on permanent daylight savings time.
Washington State?
Washington State, but the feds have a requirement that you can make a choice to stay on standard time if you want, and they'll let you do that. But to stay on permanent daylight time, they have to give us approval. So now the West Coast is all sending a message back to Washington, D.C. that we're all interested, California, Oregon, and Washington, in staying on permanent daylight savings time. We currently move our clocks back in November, then we move them back forward in March. So that 4 months of kind of confusion and misery we all go through, hopefully will go away if the federal government gives us permission to do it.
Okay.
Not happening soon, but
Okay.
hopefully in the next 2 to 5 years, the feds will get on board and let us do it.
Okay, great. Now, the big topic I've saved for last, which is the budget. And I know you worked very hard. This is only every 2 years, right? And so you had a big session. And it's a complicated topic, but can you say one thing that you're most proud of? Bill, I'm going to start with you. One thing you're most proud of in the budget, or one thing you want everyone to know, whatever.
Absolutely. My number one priority when I started this was continue funding for Highway 18 and 90. We have it for the interchange, that is in process, and now we've secured the start of the funding for the design of finishing Highway 18 to 4 lanes all the way over Tiger Mountain from Issaquah Hobart Road, tying back into the I-90
To
corridor
reduce
project.
congestion in
So-
Issaquah, yeah.
And for safety,
Yeah, safety.
congestion, the flow, but really safety. There's some safety issues on that stretch going over Tiger Mountain Summit, and there's been a lot of accidents. So for safety is always more important, but congestion for sure.
Okay, Mark?
Yeah, I voted yes on the transportation budget because we got the Highway 18 funding, and then we had a capital budget which did a lot of great projects in our communities from Snoqualmie down to Maple Valley to here. And the operating budget was the one budget I voted no on, and that was around the fact that I tend to be more fiscally conservative than a lot of other Democrats in Olympia, and I thought there was too many taxes, and so I voted no on the operating budget, but yes on the transportation and capital budgets.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. Lisa, what would you like everybody to know?
Well, one of the great accomplishments that I think happened, and I have talked about this a lot in my conversations with folks, is the tax relief and fairness for senior citizens and veterans. And that was, we had a cap at $40,000 to be able to qualify for a property tax exemption, and the legislature now has moved that and to really be tied towards the median household income for your area. So when that happens, then you can get an adjustment based off of the cost of inflation in your area. That makes that $40,000. That might have been appropriate in some areas of the state, but not so great here in King County. It's certainly not so great here in the Issaquah area. That makes the adjustments. It's going to bring a lot of good property relief.
Great. Well, thank you. Those are all my questions, but I'm going to invite you back in July. We're hoping to do a deep dive in District 5 and talk about these topics, but also what's coming up next year. So I hope you all come back. They all have their offices here at Blakely Hall, so when you need to talk to these folks, they're pretty handy. So thank you very much for coming, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.